It's time for The Local with your host and realtor, Katie McKinney.
Hey guys, it's Katie McKinney, and today we have the honor of having Brian Humphries in the studio. Brian, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Brian, if you don't know, is a financial advisor and partner with Woodward Jones. He is the one that can kind of oversee all your finances, make you some money. And so if you have any need for a financial advisor, he's the one to go to for that. But today we want to talk a little bit about Woodward Young Professionals. But first, Brian, tell us a little bit about how you got to Woodward. Where'd you come from? How'd you get here?
Yeah, great. First of all, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching your podcast, and it's really brought a lot of neat information to Woodward and the surrounding communities, and it's been fun to see it grow. So good job doing that. We needed something like this.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Southwest Oklahoma,
Okay.
Duke, Oklahoma, but I moved a lot. My dad was a high school basketball coach and principal, so unfortunately every once in a while you have to move on those things.
Yeah.
So graduated high school from Burlington, Oklahoma, up by Alva. Went to college at Northwestern and played college basketball there. Met my beautiful wife, Alexa. I'm sure she'll
Shout
watch
out.
this later. So after college and everything, our journey first took us back to Enid, Oklahoma, and we were there for 3-4 years. And then we moved to Oklahoma City. We thought that's what we always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we were there for a good amount of time. And when we decided to have a family, I was coaching college basketball still, and so I was always gone, always on the road. And she didn't want me out anymore. And she had actually started with Woodward Jones before I did, and has been there for over a decade now, which is just crazy to use that word on that. And so once we decided to do that, she's from Winoka. We wanted to plant our roots back in a small town and be in Northwest Oklahoma. And so we made the great journey to Woodward in December of 2012.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Did you become a financial advisor right when you moved here?
Actually, I already was when we were in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
I had transitioned out of coaching to that and started my business in Edmond. And Alexa was in Oklahoma City. So,
Okay, neat.
transitioning a business
that's
from
quite
a metro area to a rural area has its challenges,
Yes, it does.
but a lot of benefits.
Good. And yeah, it's unique in real estate, similar to what you do is that you get your roots kind of set up in a location. It's really, and you work really hard for those roots.
Right.
And it's difficult to make that decision to move. It has to really be for a purpose if you move, because that means taking all those roots that you just worked really hard for and transplanting them somewhere else. But a lot of times they don't go with you because it's a new place. So
Exactly.
So I get that. And so mostly the reason that you moved back to Woodward was just, starting a family, the small town kind of, country living, so to speak, of just knowing your neighbor and kind of being able to be involved in the community is kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We were both small town, kids. My dad farmed, but had a full-time job to support the farm. And I may not look like I like to farm wearing this kind of jacket today, but, definitely, that's why we wanted people to know each other and be in good schools and have that sense of community.
Yeah.
Instead of living in a 2x2 mile and this is my space and
Yeah. It is what it is when it's right there. Whereas, obviously your family's in a stock show and showing animals and that sort of thing. So I think that's even cooler because they're getting involved even further as they get older. The girls get older. So that's neat. We were just talking about that, all the jackpots and everything going on. So, and when you moved here, I mean, I know kind of a little bit about your story because that's kind of what got you to Woodward Young Professionals. But at first, when you moved here, kind of how was that transition on maybe a social level?
Yeah. Oh, glad you brought that up and would love to share that story because hopefully that somebody's watching or listening and you have this same feeling right now, and we want you to feel welcome into our group at Woodward Young Professionals. So something that we noticed, it's gotten tremendously better, so don't take this as anything negative now, but when we first moved here, we almost left in 6 months. We felt very isolated. We didn't know anybody. It was kind of a older crowd mentality versus the newer crowd mentality, and we just didn't like that. And we've always been the thought of if something's wrong, don't leave and run away. Try to be the change and try to help that. And we try to instill that in our kids, as well. And so we created the group Woodward Young Professionals, and I believe we're in our third year now, which is crazy. Our membership grew from 0 to about 120 immediately. And the whole purpose of it is to just create that networking group, that safe spot to where if you were any type of professional in Woodward or the surrounding community, that you had a place to network and a place to hang out and a place to grow your roots, that we talked about.
Yeah. Well, it's so neat because actually Woodward Young Professionals is the first kind of organizational meeting that I went to. We had I think it was one of the first lunch and learns at High Plains Tech.
Yeah.
And I had just moved here and I graduated from OSU, but did my student teaching here in Woodward, and had just graduated from OSU, went to the first meting, and I met so many people that I deal with on a daily basis now from that one initial meeting. Yeah. And, at first it's hard. How do we get out there? How do you get to meet people and know people in the area if you're not from the area?
Right.
And what I think is interesting, even if you're from Woodward, if you're moving back to Woodward, it's a whole new group of people a lot of times. Different professionals have, moved in and out and that sort of thing. So even if you're not from Woodward, or even if you are from Woodward, it's a great group to be in because there's different people from all different industries.
I know. Yeah. No, that's the crazy part. I mean, we've had individuals that have moved here from Minneapolis and, big cities, and they're like, whoa, this is really cool. I didn't expect to find something like this. And, I remember that very first meeting as well. I didn't know over half the room, and we had already lived here for 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then now when you look further down the line, when we do these fundraisers and all types of events, there's somebody new that comes every time.
Yep. Yeah, and even like the social events. We're going to get a little bit into kind of what the goal is, but the goal is to be able to connect with one another. And there's a lot of different ways, and obviously help the community. Right. And there's a lot of different ways that, I am part of Woodward Young Professionals, and luckily. And so I was able to kind of see the growth and kind of what was started as maybe some socials and some lunch and learns. So tell us a little bit about the lunch and learns first, because that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 3-phased approach to our group, and it's to connect with one another first, to develop with folks that are similar to you and similar to your backgrounds and profession. And then the last one is to ultimately impact Woodward and the surrounding communities in a positive way. So our lunch and learns vary. We've had outside speakers come in from different communities to city managers. But what we really like to do is try to feature some of our Woodward Young Professionals in their careers and their businesses or the jobs and roles that they have, and feature those folks and just let them know that you can do so much local. You don't need to go to Oklahoma City, Wichita, Amarillo, or Amazon.
Yep.
You can do everything here in Woodward.
Yeah, I agree. I love when we had Jana Walker. She presented. She's my accountant, and just kind of giving us some information. I think she did a thing on, your taxes and all, and it was kind of, it was intricate, but that's stuff that I was never taught in high school.
Right.
And not to say that it wasn't a bad thing. It's just you never really know that you need it until you need it when you're a business person. And there's a room full of young entrepreneurs and business people and employees, and it was really refreshing to hear. So lunch and learns, and the food's really good. Usually, always the food is good.
And it's cheap.
And we've had Bruce Benbrook, and we've had all kinds of really great speakers come and speak at the Lunch and Learns. And the next Lunch and Learn, just to put that out there, the next Lunch and Learn is actually July 16th at Building 801.
Whose building is that?
Oh, I don't know. That's so weird. It's weird that, funny that you mention, Building 801 is 801 Main Street, and it is a building that I purchased along with the business partner, and it's an event space. So we look forward to having the next Lunch and Learn July 16th at Building 801. So then we're going to move on to socials.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the socials.
So the socials are just come and go, and they are what they seem on those. It's an opportunity for you to get out after work and come out and have a beverage, food, whatever, just relax, and, talk, with others, see what's going on. We've all been through a lot lately.
Yes.
I hate to even bring up the word coronavirus and COVID-19, and we just haven't got to do that in a while, and we've had folks reaching out. So our next one's going to be here before you know it. I think it's June 23rd at Romero's.
Yep.
They're 4 to 6, come and go. We always do some type of drawing. Bring your business card. And what I always ask people to do at these is don't just hang out with your buddy and your friend. You talk to them every day.
Yes.
Try to get out of your comfort zone, meet some people that you haven't met before. And it helps those other people feel more welcome too, because they're wondering that same thing.
Yeah.
Who's that person? I would like to meet them.
Yep.
And I think
agree.
we've lost a lot of that in our society, where we just don't go introduce ourselves.
Right.
It's easy for us. We're in sales.
Right.
If you don't, you don't feed your family.
Right.
But for others, you got to get out there and meet those folks, and you never know that other person's story.
Exactly. They may be struggling, especially right now. I know there's a lot of young entrepreneurs and business people that they may be able to share that struggle, or that you may be able to help them in a way too. Just talking with them about it, or talking about, why they do what they do. I feel like right now is a really big time of reflection, and several months ago as well, is why are you in this business, and why, do you continue to do this? And I think it's kind of cool, because in the last couple of months, I have met with a lot of young business people, and they're like, this is why I do what I do, and so, but it's kind of interesting, because that's why I'm looking forward to this next social, June 23rd, because I think it'll be kind of a refreshed group of people. They've been quarantining for quite some time. They're ready to go have a drink and some appetizers there at Romero's. So and I again, there's not a whole lot of events that young business people or business people in general can just get off work and go have a drink with some people.
I don't know of any.
Yeah, unless it's like a bunch of ladies going for happy hour. It's really, there's not that option very, very often at all. So so really neat there. And then kind of lastly, obviously our kind of third pillar is to impact the community. And one way that we do that is we have a fundraiser, a big fundraiser in the fall.
Yep.
And it is, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're going to be picking the date here pretty quick, and hopefully everything's good, and we'll get to have that. I'm sure we will. Casino Royale. If you haven't got to come to the past fundraisers in Casino Royale that we've had, you've really missed out, and so I want you to feel a little jealous, so hopefully you'll come to the next one. But Casino Royale is our big fundraiser that we do, and we have featured various recipients of the money that we've been blessed to raise over the last few years, and from all the businesses and individuals that have been good to our group. When they heard about Woodward Young Professionals, they got really excited and started sharing those types of things. So we've given, I think our first one, we gave around $5,000 or $6,000 to Woodward schools back when, I say back, the budget doesn't sound good for the next years, but when they really needed it, and to help a lot of kids. And so we did that. The next one that we're going to do is going to be again for Woodward Beautiful, and which is a big project that's coming up. I'll be excited to talk a little bit about that, but that's a night where we have, it doesn't feel like you're in Woodward.
No, it doesn't. It's
Vegas attire, or come as you are. You can wear jeans and a t-shirt. We don't care.
Josh.
But if you want to, Josh.
He puts a kind of Western tie on for that event, but
it's a nice night if you want to dress up. We have a casino company come out, and so you're playing blackjack and craps and roulette and all types of thing, and good food and just good fellowship. And all the money goes to a very, very worthy cause. Yeah,
exactly. And it is the cause that we've been really working on, and that actually Brian and I presented to the city a couple months ago. It's been several months back now. Time flies when virus is around. But it's Woodward Beautiful. And I know, that's an overarching thing, and we may need to have a separate podcast from when we start gearing up for that. But Woodward Beautiful, is the project there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So Woodward Beautiful is a project that Woodward Young Professionals came about due to some surveys that we had put out. Because when you start an organization, you don't want it to just be all of your ideas.
Yes.
And so that's something that we've really tried to do. So we got a lot of feedback of what was important to our young members. And it was beautifying our city. We have a very nice place.
Yeah.
We have an exceptional main street. There's so much to Woodward that has to offer, but it just needs a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so people want to spend more time in beautiful places. We're trying to create photo-worthy environments when you come to Woodward.
Yep.
I mean, think about how many people were just here for the rodeo, the Elks Rodeo, which kudos to Elks Rodeo for doing that, and the fairgrounds, whoever was involved.
Yes.
What a huge turnout.
Yes.
Well, how cool would it be for somebody that's rodeoing from Indiana? You know, I'm thinking of my girls. We're getting ready to go to Iowa for 9 days. Well, when we see something really cool in the car, they like to stop and take a selfie. They think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But we put together an album from our last trip. And how cool would that be if somebody did that in our community?
Yeah, it would be cool. And that's one of the main, concerns or focuses on that survey from what I'm hearing, obviously beautification, but then also signage.
Right.
So not only creating new signage, because that's kind of I feel a given, given, all the different things like Crystal Beach but making use of what we have already, and improving what we have already, because we've got some great signs.
We do.
Yeah.
When you come into Woodward from any direction right now, we have, well, I say any direction, from 3 directions. Well, we're going to work on that 4th one.
Yes.
We have these big, beautiful Welcome to Woodward signs. They're rock, they're lit up, but how many of you have noticed them?
Yeah, not many.
I
haven't taken a picture in front of any of them.
So when we started this project, somebody told me there was 3, and I was like, no,
there's not. Yeah, lying.
And they're like, yeah, there are. And so we have these beautiful signs that the city, did a really good job of putting together.
Yes.
So we want to start there and help beautify that. When you come to Woodward, you know where you're at.
Yeah.
You mentioned signage. Crystal Beach is a hidden gem in Woodward.
Yes.
And there are folks that doesn't know that's there.
Nope, no idea.
And that live here.
Yeah.
And have lived here for a while.
And there's a lot of tax dollars that were put into that fantastic project. And so how do we get them there is the key. Yeah.
And we got so many people that come to Woodward on any given day. I know my girls love to wear out the water park. We've got those amazing softball and baseball fields, and there's a golf course, and there's putt-putt, and there's all this. But something that the city acknowledged and they want help with is some really nice signage, foliage to catch the eye, to get people off the road and get in there and use that really good facility.
Yeah, I think that's important too that you mentioned that, because that was one of the concerns, like when we talked about, the beautification. Obviously it's the budget. Right now, more than ever, the budget is such a hot topic. And why would you spend money on signage or beautification when we have jobs that are at stake?
Right.
And it really is right now, especially since everything going on, even more of a hot button issue. But I also think that, yes, there are some of those things that are going on, and the budget is really having to be, it's pretty rough. But I mean, I think anybody will acknowledge that, especially people that work at the city. But I think even with that, we can still make a positive impact. And we're not, Woodward Young Professionals is not asking the city to spend any type of additional money to actually input the flower beds and the signs or any signage or anything like that. Yeah. So we weren't going to them and asking for a bunch of money.
Nope. Not a dollar.
Yeah, we said we will fundraise, which we have some already, and we will again in the fall, and be able to do these projects. Of course, they're in collaboration with the city. We have to have their collaboration and cooperation, and they've been fantastic with that so far. So, but that is a huge thing, because I know people that are listening are like, well, we're not spending any more of our tax money on beautification when everything else is going on. I don't either. I don't either.
Yeah, so all that money is privately donated. The city's been awesome to give the blessing, and they want to help too, and they see the need for that. But it's up to our group to do that, put it in, maintain it.
Yes.
A lot of organizations could get involved. If you're already wondering, like, how can we help? This sounds really cool. We need your help in a couple of ways, not just financially. That's always great, but we need people to help us maintain it, community service type project. Let's not do something and then have it be a burden.
Exactly.
3 or 4 years from now.
Especially for the city.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so another example of that, if you think about it, one of the features I forgot to mention is the Thunder Court.
Yes.
I mean, that Thunder Court is tremendous.
It is tremendous.
All of that money was privately raised. The city helped. We had a lot of people step up and put that court together. Have you noticed how many kids are out there?
There's quite a few.
Nonstop.
On Sunday, there were at 8:00 p.m. I was going to play tennis, and there were kids playing. So,
but if I'm driving on the road and I see Thunder Court,
I'm stopping.
That catches your eye.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yep, I'm gonna go check it out. Even if I don't like basketball, I'm gonna go and check it out anyway. So, which I do like basketball. So, so I mean, there's so much, and obviously a lot of that stems back to tourism. We want Woodward to do well.
Right.
Woodward Young Professionals, obviously we're professionals in Woodward, and we want to enjoy where we live and be able to socialize with other business people, make sure they feel welcome as well. So again, there's lunch and learns, there's social events, there's a big fundraiser, the Casino Royale, and then there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved with volunteering or financially with donating to our Woodward Beautiful project. And I just think there's a lot of ways that you can help, and it doesn't have to be just young people.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, touch on that.
Yeah. So the word is Woodward Young Professionals, but we've never put an age gap on it.
No, thank goodness, right?
Yeah, I'm going to age out. So when we first set it up, we said 0 to 35, I think, and they were like, well, you got 1 year.
Yeah, and they're the main president of it, and you're going to age out.
I'm 38, knocking on 39, and, I'm not going to stop when I'm 40.
Yeah.
I don't want to put an age on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But when we say Woodward Young Professionals, that's what we're trying to attract, but especially on these fundraisers and events. It doesn't matter your age.
No.
If you want to see your community get better, get behind us, and we'll help it happen.
Yep. I really like that. Thanks so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
We will definitely, before the Casino Royale, we'll do another podcast and kind of get people so they know a little bit about more what to expect.
Right.
If you want to become a member of Woodward Young Professionals, how do we do that?
So a lot of different ways. Like us on Facebook, just Woodward Young Professionals on there. And some really neat features of that. You can be featured on there, share things that can help your business. Go there first, send us a message. We'll get you everything that you need. My email address is bhumphries32@me.com. And then Alexa does a lot of that membership stuff. Alexa, her phone number is 580-748-1564. So there's 3 different ways that you can get in touch with us.
Perfect. Well, as always, Brian, it's fun to have you here. Brian has such a great energy about him, so every time you're around him, you kind of get more inspired to do something. And I think the Woodward Young Professionals is a great way to get involved if you're not already involved. So thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks.